Hola, muy buenas a todos chicos y chicas, bienvenidos de nuevo al canal. Hoy tenemos la segunda entrevista del canal, ya sabéis que la primera fue para un jugador un poco importante de la SL, como era Sarluk. Hoy nos acompañan un canal que yo particularmente soy muy seguidor de ellos. Es un canal de Suecia, que ya sabéis que he colaborado algunas veces con ellos, tenía muchas ganas de hacerles la entrevista. Tengo que deciros que va a ser en inglés, ya que ellos obviamente no hablan español. Pero no os preocupéis porque todo lo que vayamos a decir a partir de ahora pues va a ser subtitulado en español para que así podáis entender todo lo que digamos, tanto ellos como yo. Así que espero que os guste mucho esta entrevista. Es un canal muy divertido. Yo os voy a dejar el link de su canal si no lo conocéis aún, aunque yo creo que todos los conocéis ya. Y lo pondré aquí en la descripción del vídeo. Así que vamos a empezar. Vamos a cambiar ahora a inglés para que ellos puedan ya empezar a comentar y a decir las preguntas y todo y a saludaros. Así que, let's switch to English. Let's welcome Edwin A20, Swatch Awesome Epic Guys. Let's welcome. How are you guys?
It's an honor to be here, really, it is.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you just said in Spanish, but...
Yep.
Of course you. No, as I said before, just for the Spanish audience to get the introduction. Okay, first of all, guys, thank you so much for being here today. It's so long since I proposed you that interview.
Well, we're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, so let's start with the interview.
It's kind of exciting.
Oh yes.
All right.
First of all, exactly how you started your YouTube channel, because you decided to make it funny on purpose instead of other more serious content.
Oof. Well, the name AwesomeEpicGuys came from a school play.
From school.
High school, where we made it, and then eventually when we started playing World of Tanks, we took the name and made a YouTube channel out of it. But yeah, how real did it start? I'm not sure.
I mean, how the YouTube channel started. I mean, I played World of Tanks maybe a year or so before Swatch started playing. I tried to invite him. Oh, come on, let's play World of Tanks, and you were like, "Nah, I'm gonna play Minecraft."
Yeah.
But I think I forced you to create an account and like log in for once, but we didn't actually play.
Yeah, I think I had an account for like half a year before I actually started playing it.
Yeah, but I don't actually remember what got you into the game, because just one night, for some other reason, you and I and maybe Eric or someone else, I don't know, decided to start playing together, and then you just got hooked because you wanted to get the Jag Panzer E100.
Yeah, right.
It could have been in that very same patch where tier 10 tank destroyers were introduced. You were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get that Jag Panzer,"
Yeah,
and then there was nothing stopping him.
yeah. That's pretty much how we started playing, or well, how I started playing.
Charlie, hold tyst! Sorry, that's Charlie. That's my cute dog. I can send you a picture of him later. Yeah, but then how I actually started the YouTube thing, that was completely Swatch's idea. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it. He just, let's record some dinks and upload to YouTube, and I was like, okay then.
It was pretty much like a fun thing for ourselves. I don't think we have had a plan for what the YouTube channel was supposed to
many
be.
of
Really.
us was in YouTube.
Yeah.
So Edwin, you were the first to play World of Tanks, but Swatch, you have the idea to make the YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's very fair.
Correct.
50%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As many people of the audience can remember, your channel make it famous because one kind of videos that was this is the tank series, like this is the KB2 or the ELC AMX. My question is, we will see videos like this in the future, or they ended for you?
We don't think we're going to continue the This is the Tank series, actually, because as soon as we started with the Another Day in World of Tanks series, This is the Tank series kind of died out in both views and like everything.
Yeah. So if you were to compare, I mean, when you make a video, and I'm sure you can understand it as you're a YouTuber yourself, you want to put as little effort in to result in as many views as possible, if that makes any sense. So it's hard to make a video. Let's say that usually when we make a This is the Tank video, that's a whole weekend. That's a Friday, a Saturday, and then maybe we upload it on Sunday. And that video, at least when we started out, that may have gotten 20, maybe 30,000 views after a couple of months. And compare that to Another Day in World of Tanks. I mean, there's no real comparison. There's just so much more views, so much more attention for one and the same video. So I mean, if you would make, let's say throw a whole weekend to get 30,000 views, or throw maybe 2 weekends to get 200,000 views. I mean, it's obvious we're gonna throw 2 weekends to get a better video. And I think for that reason alone, it's not worth it for us to make one of these This is a Tank videos. But that's a shame, because I really enjoyed making them, but it's just not enough people appreciate them and watch them.
Yeah, I understand you, because it happened to me the same with the live videos. Because I think a lot of edition, a lot of saying replays, and then maybe not enough views that you were expected to. So it's the same. It happens for you.
So if you look at our channel right now, the latest video we did is This is a T49, which is a pretty good video actually. And in one whole year, it has gotten 58,000 views. And I mean, that's almost the Rush B1 video got, for example, or the Gross Tractor compilation. That's just 1 month old. I mean, there's no comparison really.
Yeah, okay, but you also have to notice that the audience you have when you make the tank videos is not the same the audience that you have now. You already reached I think it's 44K.
Yeah, 44,000 subscribers. Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean that's the thing. Of course. But if we were to upload a This is a Tank video today, then maybe 20,000 subscribers that we have now would have never seen one of those previous videos, so they were probably never ever gonna click it. I mean, it's so obvious when we upload Another Day in World of Tanks, we get like 20,000 views in an hour. And if we upload Let's Play World of Tanks, it's get 1,000 views in a week.
Yeah, of course. Okay, talking about this new series about this Day of World of Tanks, it is a tricky question. And this is the shadow of another famous YouTube, this one and only 16. So I think every one of us have seen these videos of this guy. But I think that not only I, but you have been accused to maybe making a copy of these videos. How you manage these comments?
Ooh, I don't think we have received any copy accusements in the latest.
No, I don't mean YouTube. I mean other users maybe saying, "Oh, you are only copying one and only." I'm not copyright strikes, but just folks or people that accuse you that making a simple copy of his work.
Remember what we did?
Well, in the beginning we got pretty upset, kind of annoyed. So we actually made a video about that.
The most awesome epic video ever. And after that video was released, we haven't received, I mean, I'm sure we have received a couple of them, but I mean, in comparison to before we upload that video, we haven't received any copy accusements ever, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty effective actually, even though we got a mixed response from our subscribers.
Yeah,
it has been pretty effective actually. But currently we kind of ignore those comments because we don't feel like answering to it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of sad in my opinion, because the majority of people watching on YouTube, they only think that the biggest YouTuber of that genre is the original. So if someone else who's way smaller, or even though he might have made it way before the bigger guy made it, it's that's the original uploader, because he's bigger. I mean, people don't think for themselves. I mean, this happened when we uploaded. Remember that when we uploaded the Gross Tractor compilation?
Oh yeah, right. there was a smaller YouTuber who commented on our video that he got like a lot of hate because he had also uploaded a Gross Tractor compilation.
It was before of your
But
compilation.
that compilation was uploaded 10 days before. So
Really?
why are you copying Awesome Epic Guys, you scrub? So we actually commented on his video and said that that wasn't true.
Yeah.
So let's hope it all went good for him in the end.
Yeah, so I mean, it happened because the Gross Tractor was on sale one weekend, and we used about a week or two to record replays and then make a compilation. And this guy was just way quicker. I think he accomplished it in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I think that all the thumbnail was very similar. I think the title is exactly the same, and they were uploaded just 10 days apart, and we are a bigger YouTube channel, he's a small YouTube channel, so everyone thought that he was copying us, even though it clearly says in the video description that our video was actually uploaded way after him. I mean, this is so frustrating. People can't even look this up for themselves. It's so easy. I mean, the numbers are right there.
Yeah,
nope.
I think it's the same for other people. I mean, when a YouTube channel becomes too famous or getting a lot of subscribers, etc., I think that the number of haters or people that doesn't like you it increases at the same rate. Because it happens to me, and I have a smaller channel than you, and I also have people that say to me very, very disgusting things like you're trash, you are not allowed to make videos because you are yellow in 8 meters, so stuff like that. It was very disgusting. So I think I understand what happens to you with people like this. Try to make such sad comments about your work.
Yeah, but recently, like the last 4 or 5 months, has been pretty accused of copying.
Yeah, the response has been all that's actually.
Yep.
Okay, let's move to next question. Okay, apart from the funny videos, you also make streams. How often do you make one? Just improvising.
Well, how many? Are you talking about that video we make afterwards?
Yes, I mean, you decide to make one stream per week, or it's just, hey Swatch or hey Edwin, let's make a stream today.
We haven't a regular streams. We do when we have one. So, and we are both in a good mood.
Yeah. Other is really one live stream. That's a whole day.
Yeah.
So it's either an entire Friday evening, or entire Saturday day, or maybe Sunday, and it's not very often that we have one completely day off at the same time. I mean, if we do, it's as Swart said, we need to be in a good mood as well.
Okay, and I think
we could live stream a lot more.
I think that this question you answered in one of your podcasts, but why always see Edwin's face and not Swat's face in your streams or videos?
I wonder how many times we have replied to that question, actually. Swat, you want to tell him?
Well, it's very simple. One computer, and Edwin is streaming from his computer. Well, if we couldn't show my computer.
Yeah.
Since like the superior streaming equipment, it has also Edwin been showing on.
We have
I think we have sound problems. I think because I hear you a little bit distorted. Okay, so let's continue what we were saying about the stream and the reveal of the Swat's face in the stream.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard everything I said previously, but the only way for Swatch to show his face on the live stream, he needs to be playing on his own computer right next to my computer, and that's where the problem is, because he's playing at his place and I'm playing at my place. So I could drag maybe a 3-mile USB cable to his place and place a webcam in front of him, but I don't think that's very practical.
No.
But yeah, that's the reason why it's always Swatch, who doesn't have a real face.
Mystery solved.
Yeah.
Okay, and another question that I think you already answered in your podcast, but is for this Spanish audience, or maybe they haven't seen all of your podcast.
Well,
and it's about your nicknames. So why
Yeah.
Edvini20 and why Swatch?
Should you begin, Swatch?
you can begin.
All right. So Edvin20 is actually quite simple. Edvin, that's my real first name. Edvin is my name. Edvin in Swedish, as you pronounce it. And E20, that's actually a highway that is running right outside where I live. It's the name of a road. Yeah. And I didn't actually decide that name for myself. It was my father when we created my first Windows Live Messenger account. It was actually suggested by Microsoft. So I think it was my father and me together. Well, I was small to figure that out. Computers were very new for me, and he typed Edvin. I was like, search. Let's see if Edvin is available. Nope, Edvin is not available. And then there were like a couple of suggestions, and the first suggestion was Edvin E20, and my father was like, ha, that's a good name, and then he picked it. And from that day, Edvin E20 has been my name like freaking everywhere. But yeah, Edvin is my first name. E20 is a highway that runs outside of my balcony.
Yeah. Okay. So Swatch is a little more bizarre name to explain. It was also around the time of Windows Live Messenger that I came up with it. And when I first got introduced to computers and the online world, so I had to create an account on I don't remember what website it was, but some kind of website. The first time I made a profile name, basically. And I wanted to make an original and rememberable name. And I was like, it was kind of a made-up name at the spot, really. I was like, Swatchle, yeah, that sounds cool. I have actually no better explanation on how I came up with it.
It's fine. Just to know the origin.
Yeah, it's a made-up name.
It's a very original name, Swatch.
Thank you.
Apart from Dragon Slayer XXP.
Max power.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
But yeah.
In your stream, sometimes I heard the crowd ask for both of you to say some phrases in Swedish, so it's your language. Can you say something now for the interview?
Ska du med till Biltema?
God dag allesammans, och idag blir vi intervjuade av någon mystisk spanjor här på fantastiska episka gubbar.
Okej, I have for the translation.
Vad säger du, Anders? Ska vi åka till Ikea och köpa lite bullar, kanske lite godis?
I said today at AwesomeEpicGuys we're being interviewed by some mystic Spanish dude.
Thank you.
Kind of.
Ska du med till Biltema? That's like a how do you say? It's like a Swedish meme sentence.
It's a hillbilly sentence.
So it means, do you want to come along to Biltema? And Biltema, that is the place where all the Volvo drivers go.
Okay.
to go and get their parts and hot dogs.
Yeah.
I can show you actually. This is Biltema. If you check in the Discord chat.
Okay, let's see. It's very just my interpretation is crap. Okay,
The funny thing about Biltema is that it means the name literally translates into car theme, but the place isn't really car themed. You don't go there to buy car parts. You go there to buy pencils
and hot dogs and oil.
Everything apart from car parts.
Yeah, I mean they even have more motorcycle parts than they do car parts.
Yeah.
nice. Okay, just we are going to speak about your country. Being Swedish, how do you felt when Wargaming introduced the awesome Swedish tank tree?
Oh yeah,
Well,
that's how I felt.
first I was like, what? What the fuck? But yeah, they're pretty awesome. I had actually followed like a tech tree, what do you call it? A tech tree,
Case.
no, it was on the forums, like somebody had suggested a tech tree for the Swedes.
Okay.
I had followed that for a while, so I was kind of hoping for it to be implemented. But I was pretty unsure if it would be or not. But then they actually came into the game and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So yeah.
I mean, Swedish were such an insignificant country in the Second World War. So I mean, I think it's really strange that they make Swedish tanks before any other tanks. Really, I mean, Canadian tanks should have been done before. Italian tanks, Polish tanks. I mean, they were countries actually involved in, you know,
Yeah.
tank combat. And then the Swedes are like, well, we didn't do anything in World War II, so we're gonna get our own freaking tank tree with overpowered tank destroyers. Were never used.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how we have actually never really played the Swedes, even though we are Swedes.
I think I have reached tier 6 of the medium tanks, and then I have purchased the tier 6, the premium one, the autoloader. I
Yeah.
love that thing. But it's not a Swedish tank, it's a copy paste of the AMX.
Yeah.
But you went to the Arsenal Museum in Sweden. You make a video about
Yes.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
And you see the tier 10 tank destroyer. I think it's okay. My pronunciation it will be bad. It's the Stridsvagn.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good pronunciation actually.
Yeah, Stridsvagn means like battle tank.
Well, it basically means tank.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, if you were to translate it word for word,
Yeah. So
Strids means battle or combat, and tank means tank.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you see that tier 10 in action. Maybe I think it's going around the field or something. I saw in your video.
Yeah.
So it's
Kind of interesting.
Suppose it's operational right now, or
I mean, they're quite modern tanks actually. They were actually produced after the Second World War.
I think it was produced in the late 60s.
Yeah, during
I
the Cold
think
War or whatever you called it.
It's one of the most modern tanks in the game right now. I think like the Leopard 1 is also around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of the most modern World of Tanks. Tanks.
Thanks.
Tanks.
okay. Let's move to a question that I think everyone wants to know, and it's about your iconic tank on the channel, that are the KV2 and the AMX40. When exactly did you decide to make the official pets of your channel?
Oof.
I think they became our icons by themselves. I mean, if you just look at our Discord icons, we have AMX40 and KV2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like about. Well, it's our favorite tanks basically. It's meme tanks.
Yeah.
Everybody loves them for some reason.
Yeah.
Even if you
well,
hate the MX40, you love it because it's the duck.
When it comes to the KV2, I think it's because when I started playing World of Tanks, the KV2 was the old KV. It was a tier 5 heavy tank. It was basically a KV1 with the KV2's turret and gun at tier 5. And I think at that time, tier 5s could face tier 2s. And that was, I think WikiBaby even made a video about it a couple of months ago, so you can go and watch it, how it was back then. So that was the reason I wanted that tank so much, because when I was grinding up these first couple of tiers, all the tanks that kept slaughtering me all the time, there was that freaking KV, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. And after like a couple of weeks or so, I actually got one. I was like, fantastic. But I didn't have enough credits to supply it. I think I didn't have enough money to put ammunition and stuff on it. And then I went to school for a week. I came back after for the weekend, and then the patch had already gone out where the KV became the KV2. but I didn't notice. I didn't notice that they moved it up a tier because I was such a scrub. So I just started playing, and I was like, this tank isn't so overpowered. I must have been a scrub. But then I realized that maybe a year or so later that they had actually moved the KV up to KV2. But I didn't notice that as it was happening. But I just kept playing it because it was a shortcut to the S51, which is like the most broken artillery piece in the game. And it was also a shortcut to the more heavier tank tree towards the T150. And by that time I just played it so much that I pretty much fallen in love with it, and I was never gonna sell it. And then my goal after that was to get my 3 marks.
Yes, there's about the next questions, but the first is one for Sweats. The next one will be for you, Edwin. So Sweats, you are the owner of the AMX40. Okay.
Yeah.
Off the record, do you really enjoy playing the AMX40?
Well, I haven't regularly played AMX40 in a couple of years now, but when I actually played it a couple of years back, I did enjoy playing it. Actually, I'm kind of those World of Tanks weirdos that like to play bad tanks, like find the hidden playstyles for them and exploit all their strengths, and find the specific playstyles for like the bad tanks in the game. So yeah, I did actually enjoy playing the AMX40, and it's not a good tank, but I enjoy like finding the small hidden values of the AMX40.
Okay, so the connect panel for all.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I mean, Swatch, a question for me too. It must be way more satisfying to kill someone with the MX-40 than, let's say, the Lux.
Yeah, it is. Well, imagine like you're playing the Luxembourg. Yeah, this is a good tank, motherfucker. And then a freaking duck comes along and kills you, and you're like, what?
I mean, it must have been. Oh, I mean, I can't imagine the satisfaction.
Yeah,
like
well,
humiliation, maybe.
True story. At one time, at one period in time, I actually had the highest experience in one battle in the AMX-40 on the EU server.
Really?
Actually, for a short period of time. It was around 2k experience something, but I think someone broke it pretty fast.
Like
Yeah.
a new record for the server.
In experience gained on the MX-40 in one battle, I had that record for a short period of time.
That's something to be proud of, Swatch. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember you. Oh, yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. When you Edwin, as you said, you got 3 marks on your KV2. So how hard it was to achieve the 3 marks? Or it wasn't?
Well, I would never be able to get 3 marks on it today, because you need to play a tank so much in order to, you know, how can I describe it? I mean, you need to feel the tank from the inside out. You need to know every map from every matchmaker, all the enemy tanks from the ground up. You need to know exactly where you need to go and what you're gonna do before the game even starts with that tank in order to perform, you know, to that extreme limit. So I would never be able to get 3 marks today. But what I did in order to get those 3 marks, if I remember things correctly, this was a time after high school or maybe university, I'm not sure. But I had 1 week where I didn't do anything else, not even joking. I didn't do anything else apart from just playing the KV2. So a whole week. And I went, you know, where's the 3 mark? 95%?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went to like 94.9, maybe, you know, 20 times, and then I had one of those one-shotted kill by artillery, and then I went back to 80. And after a week, I actually made it. And I think that last percent, I mean that last single percent to 95%, I mean, I had to score something like 2,500 to not drop in percentage after each game. It was insane. So I remember my last like 4 or 5 games, I'm not kidding, there were mastery badges, like 3 or 4 in a row with 3,000 damage plus in order to get that damn 3rd mark. And I mean, you can't say. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are when you're playing a tank with a howitzer with a 20-second reload.
Yeah.
I mean, there is more RNG than skill involved. So yeah, it was a complete pain in the ass and probably just lucky.
Okay. Okay, let's change the subject because it's time to speak about the current status of the game. So, as a players, not as a YouTubers, what is your opinion about it? It is worse or better than before?
I think personally the game is in its best state that it has ever been, and I don't understand why people are still complaining. Well, I still see the problems in the game, but it seems like people don't want wargaming to do anything because they just keep complaining to them. But yeah, currently it's in its best state. I mean, artillery is in its best state. They have started like rebalancing all the tanks in the game, and it's just amazing. They are just implementing more and more good stuff, and like the latest 3 or 4 patches has for me been like the best ever for World of Tanks.
Yeah. In my opinion about it, I agree with 100% with what just said, but in some of the patches, I think that wargaming are taking, how do you pronounce it, 2 steps forwards and 1 step back with each patch. For example, when they start, well, I don't know if it was the patch it just was, or maybe the patch before that. For example, when they gave the T-54 a turret buff.
Yeah.
And they removed the BL-10 from the ISU. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, what's the point? It doesn't improve anything of the game. The T-54 doesn't need a buff. They're just buffing all these mediums and heavy tanks to force us to spend premium ammo. But apart from that, the rest of the patch was just freaking amazing. So if they could just get that, that tiny little change and just don't do it. I mean, the last previous patches would have been absolutely amazing. So I mean, like, for each patch, just maybe 90% is just all good, and then there's usually one tiny small thing that just boggles your mind, like, oh, we're gonna nerf the reload of the KV2 and make the AMX-40 go slower. I mean, some of the nerfs and buffs they make just doesn't make any sense. They nerf the bad tanks and they buff the already overpowered tanks. Just doesn't make any sense.
Like a 140.
Yeah, I mean why would they buff the 140? That was the key difference between the 140 and the T-62A is the turret. And then they buff the turret of the Object 140. It just doesn't make any sense. The T-62A is obsolete in comparison.
Yeah, they kind of contradict themselves because they have said they wanted to make all tanks kind of unique.
Yeah.
So why?
I mean, from any perspective, even from a customer or a company perspective, it just doesn't make any sense to do it.
No.
I mean, they made the T-62A useless in comparison. If you have the T-62A and the Object 140 in the garage, it doesn't make any sense at all to play the T-62A currently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Yeah, if you don't want a challenge.
Of course, get the AMX-40.
That's like all there is to it.
Yeah. But overall, the current state of the game is fantastic, I think.
Yeah.
And what is about the epic battles, the 30 versus 30?
Well, it really isn't about the mode in itself. It's about the only map that is available. It's really bad.
They plan to introduce another map in the next patch, I think.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. But it's just too campy, and there's too much artillery, and when you get spotted, you die.
So much people firing at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we haven't played it a lot of times. I mean, we can't really give you a full review of the game mode, but I think we have played maybe 5-10 games in the large game mode. What's it called? Grand Battles?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I haven't enjoyed a single one of them. I mean, the average experience is that you try to go somewhere, you either get killed trying to get somewhere because you need to cross an open field, then you just get hammered by tank destroyers and artillery, or once you actually get to somewhere, let's say that that big thing, that hill in the middle, you just get stuck there. You can't go back, you can't go forward, and just getting hammered by artillery everywhere. I mean, that game mode favors artillery and tank destroyers, and that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, that game mode, I mean, imagine 30 versus 30 on Himmelsdorf.
Oh.
That would have been amazing. But currently we don't like the ground battles, no.
No.
Okay, time to speak about some of the newest things. That is about the new graphics we saw in the sandbox server. Do you think that will be a serious threat for people with low computer settings?
What do you think, Edwin?
So I'm the computer guy now, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
you
I
made
am.
the computer taller after all.
Ja. Hold on, vad sa du, Jennifer? Den är i min lilla låda. Okay, sorry about that. About the graphics. I mean, I think both Jingles, Daisy Games, and Quickie Baby made a video about it, and according to them, there is no frame drop at all. And if that is the case, then that's freaking amazing. But it doesn't make much sense that you can make a game look twice as good and still remain the same frame rate.
FPS.
Yeah.
Going down.
And we haven't tried anything on our own, so we don't know. We can't say anything for sure. But it doesn't make any sense that you can make a game look very good and still have no performance drop. Because I think currently World of Tanks is pretty badly optimized. If you have a low-end PC, it's really hard to have a good experience in it. But I think that if you have a reasonably new PC or at least a new graphics card, I don't think you're gonna notice an FPS drop. But if you have an older graphics card with an older technology with less VRAM, then you're probably gonna notice an FPS hit, unless Wargaming makes some sort of graphics preset to make you play in like the previous state of the graphics engine. I'm not sure how they're gonna figure that out, but if they don't, then you're gonna lose a lot of the players.
Or the high quality client.
Exactly. I hope that they're gonna introduce something similar to it, because I don't think for example, me, if I max out all the sliders, I can play at about maybe 160 frames per second with my setup, and I don't think that with all the new graphics I would be able to slam all of those sliders to the right with max settings and still reach those frame rates. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. But hopefully, I mean, it would be amazing if that is the case, but time will tell, I assume.
Yeah, we're talking about the sandbox. Is far away from reaching one of the newest patch or the next patch of the game. Just the test, but we'll see. I hope, in my opinion, because I have two computers. One is I use during the week. That is absolute crap. This laptop, and I always play in like Minecraft. Okay, it's the lowest graphics, and in the computer I'm right now it's in Barcelona. It's better, not like yours, but it's better. And I can play maybe 80 frames, so it's very good. But I'm trying to think about people like me in playing the laptops or the lower setting computers. It could be maybe difficult for them to play.
Yeah. I think those players will be the guys who are gonna be hit the hardest. I assume. I'm afraid. But I mean, it could be the opposite. I mean, it could be the revolutionary graphics change that we've been waiting for 10 years. Everyone with a freaking potato will be able to play World of Tanks. I mean, it could be. But I don't think it's gonna be.
We'll see if Wargaming is that revolutionary or not.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, time. A question for you. Which are your favorite tanks to play apart from KB2 and AMX40, of course?
Well, AMX40 hasn't really been my favorite tank to play. It's mostly my kind of just favorite tank, as in tank, not favorite. But currently, my favorite tank to play, I think, would be the freaking shit barn. Because of obvious reasons. Freaking one-shot potential and the overall derpiness. It's like KB2's retarded cousin.
But it, yeah,
Do you see the connection here, Jordy? He started to play the game for the Jagdpanzer E100, which was at that time the biggest freaking gun in the game.
yeah,
And now he's sitting in the shit barn.
Yeah, so yeah, the Jagdpanzer E100 was my first favorite tank to play. But then some bigger guns came along, and yeah, the bigger guns are my preferred guns.
And
Yeah.
from you, Edwin?
How many am I allowed to say?
Just the top one.
Just the top one. So apart from KV2, I mean, it depends if I play alone or I play solo. If I play solo, I don't really mind. I can play pretty much anything. I enjoy playing almost all tanks. But if I am to log in right now and just have one game and try to enjoy it, I usually prefer playing the lower tier tanks because it's not as competitive and not as try-hardish as in higher tier. So I think I'm gonna have to say Jingle's favorite, the Luchs, the tier 4 German light tank.
Like
actually, yeah, it has become a new favorite.
Oh, the surprise.
Yeah, and it's a very good companion along with the AMX-40, actually.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the AMX-40 is the brawn and the Luch is the brain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, the same question, but about the maps. What is the best one and the worst?
Oh man.
The worst
Three questions.
would probably be Prokhorovka, I think.
Yeah, Prokhorovka is the first map that comes into mind.
But the best map, that's kind of harder.
I think one of my all-time favorite maps. I mean, for all tanks, that has to be Airfield.
Yeah, Airfield is a pretty good map.
Yeah.
It's like it's a symmetrical map, so kind of symmetrical map. So both sides it's pretty balanced.
Yeah.
And
all tanks types can go and do something somewhere.
yeah, Airfield is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask this question to us maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think we would have said Himmelsdorf straight away. But that's probably because we played a lot more heavy tanks back in the day. I think that's one of the shortcomings of Wargaming's maps recently, that there are so many of them that just favor a certain tank or play style. I mean, for example, Prokhorovka, obviously. I mean, it's a light tank, tank destroyer, and artillery map. If you're a medium tank or a heavy tank, what the heck do you do? If you get Kharkov, if you get Stalingrad, Himmelsdorf, and you're in a freaking light tank or artillery piece, or a sneaky tank destroyer, there's not much else you can do. So, I mean, overall, we prefer the tanks that you can do anything in any tank, really.
Yeah.
So Airfield is a perfect example. Maybe Lakeville as well is a good example of a good map.
Yeah, Lakeville I think Lakeville is a pretty map as well. It's nice to look at.
It's visually fantastic.
Yeah. Excellent.
That's done.
yeah. That's done.
Okay, that's for the final question. As a players, what will be the change that you will apply to the game if you are allowed to?
What should go first?
Number one priority would be to change the premium ammunition. So it's I think they already implemented it to the Blitz version of the game, that the alpha damage changed. So the penetration goes up, but the alpha damage goes down. So the premium ammunition becomes kind of balanced and just not a overpowered alternative to the regular rounds.
So in Blitz you have a more penetration but lower damage in premium ammo.
Exactly. I think it's like a 25% lowering of the damage or something. So it's kind of balance out the penetration. So it's not just you just can't dab the 2 key and expect you to win. It's an alternative to the regular rounds in that version. So I think that would be my first pick to implement into the PC version and like all versions of the game. Because premium ammo is pretty. I think we can all agree that it's pretty sick. that it just is as it is in the game right now.
You mean that gold spammers that fire gold at you no matter what?
Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many tanks right now that you have to shoot premium ammo at.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're driving, let's say a tier 8 tank, IS-3,
Yes.
and then you come across a Type 5 heavy or a Type 4 heavy or a mouse or a VK, I mean, you have to load premium ammo and preferably hit them in the side to even stand a chance. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You should never be forced to fire premium ammo, in my opinion.
No.
Well, or maybe just in a certain situations. I mean, if you are in the situation that you have an IS-3 and you have a BK or a Type 5, and you're engaging frontally, you have to use it. But if you have a chance to get around or get the side, you don't need the premium ammo.
Yeah.
But that's a flaw in the map design then, because there are so many maps where you're just not able to get around tanks.
Yeah, this would be the number 2 priority. A lot of maps are either like only favored for heavies, like there are a lot of corridor maps, and some maps are just too open, so the heavies are just obsolete on that map. Prokhorovka, for example, which is our most hated map currently.
Yeah, but Malinovka, at least you have some positions you can go to and stay relatively safe. If you spawn on where's the south spawn, you at least have a couple of buildings. If you have some bush you can go to, you can probably go to the hill. I mean, it's a bad map, it is, but it's far better than Prokhorovka.
You have some options at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and when it comes to me, the number 1 pick, it's pretty much exactly the same that Swatch just said about the premium ammo, but maybe spreading out a little bit, because, well, premium ammo adds to it, but it's Wargaming's way to force you to spend either real money or credits in the game. So we're talking, I mean, the main thing is premium ammo. I mean, it has to go. They're making premium ammo just better and better, and they make tanks more heavily armored all the time across all tiers. I mean, you're just forced to spam gold everywhere. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, I had maybe 20 rounds of AP and 5 rounds of composite rigid, for example. Now it's usually 50-50. In some tanks, I even have more premium ammo than standard ammo. I just think that's absurd. So they're forcing you to buy premium tanks, and those are freaking overpowered. I mean, at least the previous one they have released. And they're selling them in huge packages for maybe hundreds of euros and pounds. Yeah, and they force you to buy premium accounts so you don't fall behind. So they're forcing you to just spend more money in order to make more in-game money in order to stay competitive in the game, and that everything has to do with armor and premium ammunition. So it's pretty much exactly the same what Swatch just said. It's just a bit of a broader perspective. We would change Wargaming's way of thinking of how to milk money from the game, because I think that they would make more money and get a happier community if they changed all that and just made people, enjoy the game, play the game more, make them suggest the game to their friends. I mean, just look at League of Legends, for example.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's just skins. I think you can buy heroes like premium tanks, but they're not overpowered in the same way. I mean, you buy them because you want to support the game, you want to get that fancy skin. In World of Tanks, it's like, oh well, you want to get to tier 10 and play competitively. So, we take credit cards and cash. How would you prefer to pay?
Mm-hmm.
If you can get my point.
Yeah,
what did you say?
Or paying by vital organs.
Of course, by organs. Well, we could take your kidney, but you only get a tier 7 premium tank.
About the premium tanks, as you may know, there was such a discussion when it arises the Patriot, the Defender, all that kind of broken tanks. I remember when I was in Tank Fest, and we met with the developers, and it was close to Baby, Circo, and all the kind of guys, and they all said the same, that there was no sense to making that kind of overpowered tanks like the Defender or the Patriot, and that was the point about this. And there's a exclusive comment from here. And the developer said that, for instance, in the case of Defender, they didn't consider an overpower because in the Russian server, people from the Russian server said that the Defender is completely useless. So they have in Europe, people are saying the Defender is completely broken, it can be, and on the other side, they're saying it's complete trash. So we have to do.
Okay, so the thing about the recent quote-unquote overpowered premium tanks is the most are powered their premium counterparts. So like the Defender is just a buffed version of
sound problem. Okay, nice. Can you repeat again, because previously it doesn't sound very well.
Yeah, okay. So the thing about the Defender,
yes,
is that you're powered in the sense that you can just drive around and make it. It's just it's breaking the rules in the sense that it's better than the non-premium counterparts at the same tier. So it's it's just like reaching when they started to implement the premium tank, but didn't want the premium tanks to be better than the non-premium counterparts. So that's the problem with the current premium tanks, that they are better than the non-premium ones, which makes them overpowered in that sense.
If you take a Defender and an IS-3 and put them in a 1v1 situation, the Defender will win every time.
Yeah.
And that's broken. If you take the Löwe and the Tiger 2 in a 1v1, the Löwe will win every time. Take the T-32 and the Patriot in a 1v1, the Patriot will win every time.
Yeah.
If you take the Liberté and the well, there is no good counterpart to the Liberté.
No, because the tier 7 French heavy tank is not as good.
Yeah. I suppose you could say the 5100, but they are so completely different tanks.
Yeah,
but if you take the 5100 and compare it to the Lorraine,
yes,
why would you play the 5100? I mean, it's just, and it's not that they are just, the Lorraine has fewer magazines, fewer clips in its magazine, and the 5100 is slower but has more clips. No, I mean, the Lorraine is just overall way better.
Yes.
And it's just absurd.
It's not game breaking really, but it's better. So why would you want to play the non-premium one? That's just what's making it broken.
Yeah, and as we get so many replays from 2 Hour and Other in World of Tanks, we do get occasionally like clan wars and what do you call them, team battles? I'm not sure what all these game modes are called.
Skirmishes and
skirmishes, yeah, where clans play against each other. I mean, like the average game is like they're just premium tanks.
Yeah.
For example, the Cromwell B, for example.
Yeah, that's my case. When I play skirmishes with tier 6, every one of us is or the Cromwell or the T-34-85.
Yeah,
that's the two main tanks for the skirmishes in tier 6.
Yeah, and if you were to play skirmishes tier 8, I mean, then there's just Defenders, Patriots, Libertés all over the place, and it feels so wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, a tier 8 premium tank, I mean, the majority of people playing this game are children. Yeah. Well, perhaps not kids, but let's say the average World of Tanks player is a 16-year-old boy in Poland. and a tier 8 premium tank, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, at least for him. And I mean, there are so many of them. I mean, if all the tier 8 premium tanks would be available for purchase, like right now, we're talking. I mean, I don't know if $1,000 would cut it to buy all of them, and that in itself is just absurd.
Yeah.
With the fact that they are better than the non-premium variant. I mean, just the fact that they make so much more credits, that enough should be enough to make them, slightly worse. I mean, for example, the IS-3 and the IS-6. I mean, they're perfect. The IS-6 is basically an IS-3 with less penetration on its gun.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be, for example.
Yeah, then you have a benefit and you have a counterpart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And KV5 is like the KV4, but the KV5 has penetration issues. But it has premium matchmaking, so it has some good parts and some bad parts. While the new Primus only has good parts and not the balancing factor. So that's the problem.
Okay, guys, I think we are done. If you have any other suggestion of issue you want to talk,
I think we milked it out. Actually, we got to talk about pretty much everything.
Yeah. Well, I do have some questions, but we can do that after the actual interview.
okay. So, thank you again for coming here. It was a very pleasant interview to hear your opinions about your channel, about yourself, and obviously about the game. I really want to do this interview because the previous one, okay, is in Spanish. It was a single player, maybe one of the top players of Spain and in Europe. And it was a completely different perspective. It was more a professional view of the game, and for me, as you know, I'm very big fan of your work, and I wanted to make you an interview to show to the Spanish crowd what is behind your channel. Well, what is the okay? Not talking about the best players, quickie babies, etc. Just real normal guys that play the game and make really funny videos. So really, thank you a lot for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Okay, if you want to say something to the audience before I get the finishing sentence in Spanish.
Tack så mycket för att ni stod ut vårt elände i det här samtalet.
Quick.
Great.
Derp.
Okay, let's make. So I will make the closing sentence and we'll finish the interview.
All right.
Bueno, chicos, pues hasta aquí la entrevista con Edwin y Swatch de AwesomeEpicGuys. Espero que os haya gustado muchísimo y que no haya sido mucho problema para vosotros ver los subtítulos teniendo en cuenta que hablábamos en inglés. Como os he dicho antes, os dejo la descripción de su canal, así como las imágenes que habéis ido viendo de varios de sus vídeos. Cualquier cosa que me queráis preguntar, pues lo podéis poner en la caja de comentarios. Si queréis que les diga alguna cosa, que esté en contacto con ellos, pues me lo decís. O si no, podéis ir directamente a su canal y preguntárselo a ellos, que estarán encantados de contestaros. Así que nada, espero que os haya gustado el vídeo y nos vemos en el siguiente. ¡Hasta luego!